joining us here and for subscribing to our page. We are a grace teaching ministry, and we just want to encourage you today with something that we're going through, and we like to kind of share, my wife and I, our quality of life, Grace Teaching Ministries, and we like to kind of share the grace perspective and get a grace perspective on life, life lessons and circumstances and situations that come up in our life. The neat thing about this world we live in today is we all go through it. We all go through things, don't we? We all have life happening, and none of us are exempt from that. So just because you become a Christian doesn't mean you don't have problems. We have the same problems everybody else does. The only difference is we have somebody that goes through them with us. And so when we trust Christ, that's what we're talking about. When we uh, put our confidence and trust in Him to take us through things, we are not alone. And that's the neat thing about being in Christ today. And that brings us to the topic of what brings honor to the Father today as children of God. What brings honor to the Father is something Jesus said in John 15:8. He said, when you produce much fruit and show that you're my disciple, this brings honor to my Father. Okay, and so when we look at John 15, Jesus is going to say the Father is the gardener. And so he's going to talk about branches that bear no fruit and branches that do bear fruit. And of course, he's talking about unbelievers and believers there. But as believers, we see that every branch in me, he says, in John 15:2, he says, every branch in me that bears fruit will be pruned so it will be more fruitful. We have a lemon tree out back, and I have to prune it once in a while. And we have to have somebody prune it and come in and cut it back, and, when they paint the house. And, it seems like you look at the tree after they've pruned it, and you're like, man, I don't know if that tree's going to make it. They pruned too much. They took so much off of that tree. And sometimes it feels like that. It's sometimes, when we experience loss, and that's what we do. We're being pruned a lot of times. And we're going to God, and we're like, are you sure? That seems like a lot of loss. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to make it, you see. We're kind of like that tree. But see, the purpose of pruning is so that the tree will be more fruitful. And that's the way it works in the physical as well as the spiritual. So when we are pruned, meaning maybe you've lost a job, maybe you have a health problem that just came up and it was not there before, or you've lost a relationship, you haven't talked to this person, a friend that you thought were friends, and now you're not. So, a lot of times He takes those things away, and those things are removed because they hinder our spiritual growth. And that's what God is interested in. If you're a child of God in Christ, He is interested in us bearing fruit. And the way this fruit is produced is Christ, as we trust in Him more and more and become more intimately acquainted with Him and put our confidence and trust in Him to live the life through us. Then we are truly participating with Christ and bearing His fruit. Remember, Christ produces the fruit. We get to bear it. John 15:5, Jesus said there's a union taking place. So we're living in Him. He's living in us for the purpose of living through us. And by doing this, what happens? We look at this pruning and all this loss that we've had, and we're like, wait a minute. All this loss has just produced fruit, more fruit in my life. And so when I talk about fruit, I'm talking about the fruit of the Spirit. Okay, love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, self-control. And so all of this fruit is bearing, and it's for the Father. So be encouraged. We used to think, well, the bearing the fruit is for others, and it's for us too. But no, Jesus is saying this is for the Father. See, the pruning and the bearing the fruit, being more fruitful, is for the Father. Okay? And so it's our gift to the Father, you see. And so that's why He's doing it. That's why He's pruning. So be encouraged. I hope this really encourages you. It sure has encouraged us. God bless you guys. Have a great day.